Saturday night, I'll be at a fire dinner in my local township in Lisburn. And time and time again, I hear from my local municipalities about the issue of volunteers and how we keep them. But I was looking at the performance-based budgeting and looking at all the numbers that you guys have. And two things popped into that I thought were kind of a bad thing, but that's why I want to question you on them. And that is that you don't have the authority to find out how many we have in the state of Pennsylvania. And in the report, it states that Pennsylvania is the third highest in the nation on its reliance on volunteers. We do have paid firefighters, and we're grateful for those in our bigger urban areas, but I know my entire district, it's all volunteers. We just had two in Mechanicsburg that merged. We've talked about that issue. We had two serving the borough. They have merged. But my question about the ability for you guys to count them, what is it that you need in order for you to be able to do that? The numbers in the report talk about the fact that you have, starting in 17, 18, and 19, you have how many companies. So my question is, why can't we know how many are in those companies?
The data that we collect right now is from those that apply for the grant.
Okay.
For the annual grant.
So these numbers of departments are only those that apply for grants?
If it's in our database, yes.
Okay.
Okay. We have no mechanism at this point to have every fire company register with us, if you will. Mm-hmm. There's no regulatory authority on our part to do so.
And would that require a legislative action, or is that a PEMA or an action within the agency, a regulatory?
I would say that would require
legislation.
action.
Okay, good to know. The second thing in line with that is looking at the numbers as well. There's a gap as to how many actually apply for the loans that are available, as well as applying for the grants. So in taking the numbers, and that even going with 19 is 2,130 actual fire departments, 800 EMS, but the numbers, there's a gap there of approximately over 400 companies that didn't apply. So how can we better educate or outreach to those entities and say there's dollars here that we're appropriating for your use and we want you to use them? I mean, I know all the dollars get used, don't get me wrong, but how do we reach out to some of those that don't apply?
My best bet is through number one, talking to them.
Okay.
As we go out and speak,
Do you go out to each of the departments?
Not to each of the departments, but I try to reach at least in the county level.
Okay.
And then when invited, we'll try to meet with the awards banquets, if you will, or the length of service awards for folks that are retiring. At those times, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, do you think there's a reason why the loans have gone down? It's a third of what it was in 2015. Is there a reason for that lack of use or less people applying for them?
On the loans?
Yes, on the loan side.
I think there was a period of time when the interest rates were kind of equal, so
it didn't matter then.
It didn't really matter.
It wasn't a benefit.
They would rather deal with their local bank than us.
And what is the definition of a firefighter to you? In the sense that I know, in knowing my companies and going to their dinners, and they award the top 10 responders, and it's always the same guys, pretty much, men and women, I will say. We're lucky in a couple of ours. We've really been encouraging youth and getting our junior firefighter in there. But I know that there's a number of folks, men and women, that have been with it for a number of years. They don't go out on calls anymore. So if you were looking at the numbers of people that are standing for a particular fire company, is there an activity, how active you are, that would determine what is an actual firefighter? If we should count how many firefighters are actually volunteering in our communities, would that be useful, or does it not matter?
I think that would be useful, but I think an additional piece of data that would be even more beneficial is who supports them. If it's a volunteer company, who is supporting them? If you take
from the municipality, you mean dollars?
The municipality, as well as administrative offices within the fire department.
How many there are?
Yeah, and when I speak at the banquets, I ask, how many of you in here are an officer? The hands come up. And then I say, how many of you are wearing more than one hat? And everybody that you talk to is wearing 2 and 3 hats, whereas years ago, we had more community involvement of people that were not active firefighters that were there to support them financially. For example, in the administrative offices, president, vice president, secretary. So now, if you talk about one of the retainment problems, is we have fewer people, but now they're all doing more because
Okay.
they're trying to fill all those offices.
And I'll throw one thing out while I'm getting scowled at by the chairman. Do you think the education tax credits that we passed and the education enhancements to paying for school for those that have served are a benefit and will work in the retention?
I think it will help in recruitment. I don't know about retention, but yes, I think it will help in recruitment.
Okay, thank you very much.